Hey! Hey everyone! Welcome back to a little more Wario Land 3, where... Yeah, I'm not really fooling anyone, am I? So, to address the elephant in the room, I really want to talk about that. In fact, while I set up right here, since last time, we were exploring what the water wand had done for the world. I think what I'll do is I'll just start playing, and from this point, I really want to just have a full disclosure about what's going on. Or at least, what happened, really. So, if you're wondering, don't worry, it's nothing serious. You might have noticed that since 2022, this series has been on hiatus, just complete lack of uploads. And I think it was 2022 where everything really started to change. I'm not going to say that I went through, like, a very depressed time in my life, though I also won't say that it was anything particularly great at the time. For, like, complete transparency here, I happen to be part of the furry community, and I hadn't really met anyone, and it was honestly more of just like a self-imposed label that I would put on myself. That being said, around 2022, in fact, the last upload of this was in February, I think the day after Valentine's Day. It was in March where I went to a convention, and strangely, the convention had nothing to do with what happened. It just happened to be that around that time, I had met a lot of people, mostly just online friends I haven't met in person, but they've been quite supportive, and I've spent a lot of my time hanging with them. And that kind of explains this channel's kind of dead activity. In 2024, around March, although it could have been late February for all I know, I don't have it with me, I remember streaming that whole Pokedex thing, something that I'm actually still in the middle of editing, and by the time that I'm recording this video, that Pokedex stream, like, sessions that I'm editing, I would have actually uploaded number 5. I'm not sure if I'm going to just record this, put this together, and then like upload it pretty soon after the whole Pokedex thing. I might honestly want to keep this video here just as a as sort of a safety net, or as like a thing to save just in case people need to be tied over a bit. Anyway, I sort of realized in the midst of it that whether I would adopt more of a persona related to, like, the community, or if I would just continue this channel. Obviously, it doesn't need to be a dichotomy there. It could be a little mixture of both. However, my time would end up getting probably unnecessarily divided between a lot of things. So I ultimately put off this channel for quite a while. I'm gonna take a brief moment to just mention that the lantern and the fire that we just got in these last 2 levels will light up the way to another kind of giant tower. Not the Tower of Revival, it's the Castle of Illusion. Or is it Illusions? Okay, multiple illusions. This is another somewhat long stage maybe not as much of a gauntlet as the Tower of Revival. So here's the situation of what's going on here. The chest is right there, and we can push this little I don't know, furnace. We can push it down. We actually, obviously, we don't have the key, so we can't do that yet. But we are going to flip these switches right here. I just flipped this one. And this is going to be a common trend with this level. Be careful of the zombies. So just remember to stay put and duck whenever you encounter them. This wall right here we can't pass, and past it is actually our next switch. Where we can bump this guy from the top and just... yeah. It's not really clear. There is something more you can do, but we'll need the next key anyway. So let's just bump that switch, and we can progress. This level in particular is quite interesting. We got this door right here, and get this chest. You notice that the first door had the black chest. The last door actually would have the red chest. This door has the green chest, as well as a switch we can press. And if you can imagine, this door right here, it has a switch we can press, as well as the blue chest. It's a very formulaic level, but honestly, it kind of makes it stand out for that reason. Be careful to get in between these guys. Woo. And there's our key. Now you can just drop to the bottom. So, what I was saying about, like, my attention being sort of divided, I have considered adopting, like, my furry community persona. If you've watched the Pokedex video, one of my friends actually joins in and refers to me as such. I'll say it right now, I go by Azure the Ferret. However, I wouldn't, word of warning, I am active on Blue Sky. I was active on Twitter at some point, but recently things have gone to shit. I still have the account up. That being said, I do happen to engage in a lot of NSFW related things, so word of warning there. With that, we get the, I don't know, super overalls? The red overalls? We actually get downward smashability, I suppose. Giving us a good opportunity to actually break things below us. At least the particularly, like, solid blocks, ones without cracks. It actually unlocks a lot. So as usual, we'll start off by getting the optional stuff first. We'll start off with going to North 2. And we'll... oh, might as well grab that. Nice. So, over time, I think I've been engaged a lot more with sort of that other, like, set of people, and it kind of got to a point where I didn't really have a need for this channel anymore. But that being said, it's kind of fun. You can actually use the higher smash to, like, make this frog jump, allowing you to go through. That being said, I really didn't want to leave any projects unchecked or unfinished. I had planned to do a lot more things, but things just didn't end up panning out. The Pokedex stream was used as a bit of a way to try and revive the channel. Get out of the mole! Get out of the mole! And it didn't really pan out. And in fact, that just left me with a lot of, like, several hours of footage that I felt kind of obliged to have to edit. I guess I could upload the VOD, but I just didn't want to be inconsistent about that, and I can imagine someone wouldn't want to watch just a series of massive VODs. Right here, we get... Looks a little boxy. What it is the final thing on the overworld screen. It's actually a day and night toggle. This is probably one of the most useless abilities in the game, because quite literally just entering and exiting a stage will change day to night. That being said, it just so happens this will be useful. I said it was the last one. I forgot that there was a thing in between here. Anyway, that being said, I will actually use it here, because the other chest we have is actually also in N2. We can actually clear out this stage, as you can see. In fact, we got the blue chest first. And we actually have to come here at night. If you come here during the day, there's going to be a big door that I enter. It's going to be closed. Ooh. I wasn't even familiar with the zombie dying animation. That's really funny. So, I sort of left it in the description of the last Pokedex video, where I sort of plan to essentially soft retire this channel, at least after I finish this series and the Pokedex one is fully edited and uploaded. I apologize if the talking about this is kind of getting in the way of the gameplay. At least it's here. Plus, a lot of stuff going on here is going to be a little repetitive if I end up failing. Oh, right, actually, I shouldn't be using this yet. Come back to that. Or I won't. So, yeah. The short story of what happened is that I got into another group of friends that really sort of made me have more of a purpose with things I was doing lately, and I may consider swapping to a different channel if I want to adopt some kind of Sona. Wow, I am not doing well. And I was supposed to enter that door, too. That's just stupid me. Should dodge the fish. Basically just keep jumping. Can also drop down here. See a little music note coin. Anyway, now we're going to want to use that potion of invisibility. And have to make these sort of blind jumps to get to the top here. Ah, damn. Maybe like a pixel off at that point. Anyway, yeah. I don't really have any particular... I don't want to say I don't have any interest in continuing this channel, because there are some little projects I might consider doing. I did have something, for example, that I would want to do in relation to, let's say, Deltarune. It would have to come out after Deltarune comes out completely, which, by the way, I have been really loving the game so far. Let me see if I remember what you do here. Oh! There we go. Not as much of an interesting item here. This time we just get, like, a bonus treasure. The Chalice. So, yeah, I apologize if maybe that's not the most interesting stuff to talk about, or if it's a bit disappointing to hear that this channel might be coming to an end. Maybe the vast majority of people don't care particularly that much. So, I feel it's at worst, it's at least worth mentioning, because my experience could vary. I don't know. It could be very different from here on out. But again, I don't think it's going to be like a complete destruction of the channel. I think it's just going to be a kind of indefinite hiatus slash shelving. I just felt like a lot of the projects I have had currently have been kind of unfinished business. And considering this is 4 years old now, I really thought it was a good idea to start cleaning this up. Can I get this guy just... Oh, that guy's annoying. And all of this is just to get the key. Oh my god, okay, hold on. Break that one block, I don't care. Thank you, sir. I honestly have put a lot of ideas and time into this channel over the years. There have been, like, a list of things that I'd wanted to do for quite a while, honestly. But, again, I think maybe I could either adopt that under a different channel, under a different moniker, or, I don't know. Maybe just shelve it and just enjoy my time with friends. Not that I couldn't do that while the channel was going, but I don't know. I may come back to it someday. I actually think that maybe this game, unfortunately, was kind of a big reason that I had been on hold for so long. I actually love Wario Land 3, but I sort of approached this game with the same kind of mindset that I would a lot of other kind of games, where you might have noticed that the typical structure that I have is that I record something like, 30 minutes to an hour-ish, could go on longer or shorter, of gameplay footage, rather than something a little more structured, like the series I did with Mega Man X. I actually think that if I were ever to revisit a series, it would be in that style. Or, I guess, revisit the channel with a new series. It would be in a style like that, where I particularly enjoy the kind of structure to that. And this game just kind of made me realize that the structure of doing this kind of things just kind of got a little stale to me. And it happens, right? Things happen in life. Yeah, I'm sorry to get all real with you guys. That's basically it. Just know that after this series, and after the Pokedex series gets uploaded, there might be quite a while before I end up really doing anything. We can use the overalls now. Okay, I'm just tonal whiplash here. We can re-enter N6. In fact, it's kind of funny how you don't have to do any of, like, the excavating. You just need to just break a block right at the beginning of the level. Now we gotta get it to the key in here, however, of course, I can't exactly bash this block if I have to duck for it. Same thing on the other side here to get to the chest. So what do? Well, there happens to be a slope right here. And guess what? Even though I'm way too far, like way too low down to even get it, these pipes just continuously loop back and forth. They actually give you a lot of, like, time for you to just do it. The top eye here actually leads to a dark room. It seems a bit strange, but we'll have to come back to it later. So don't pay it any mind. We will have to use it to actually continue our roll in that top section. We use the pipe here, jump here, jump here. Don't mind the dark room. Do a jump right here. Ah. Unfortunately, if you do the jump a little too late, then sometimes you end up hitting the the sort of top half of that wall. Okay. Alright, keep it going, keep going. If you fail a jump, you can just keep the roll going. Don't have to reset it all. Don't mind this room. And all we need to do is basically do that one more time, but going in the other direction. I actually really like the structure of this room. It's pretty creative. The fact that you can just, like, go on forever like this. Once again, don't pay this room any mind. Money. And what do we have here? Continuing on with our progress, we get what kind of looks like a bear paw print of some kind. It's not really clear. It doesn't look like much of anything. Just like different, like, what, like shards of a broken plate or something? What's going on here? Well, it'll become a little more clear when we go into W1. I'm actually going to have to come in... Well, I was going to say I have to come in through the night, because I need this pathway open. But actually, I haven't needed open in quite a while, because, yeah, I can just break it. I remember originally going through the level, you couldn't break it. We didn't have that ability yet. We didn't have that, like, level of strength. But now there's no problem. We don't need to use our day-night cycle, having even less of a use for it than it already had. This room is kind of memorable to me in a way. So, the key is on the very top right, in which we have our bat form here, and these, like, diagonal rays of light we have to avoid. It's not particularly difficult, especially once you get the pressing A rhythm down. You can just mash it a little bit. Kind of, not exactly like complete mash, but you get the idea. Now, the problem we run into here is this door actually opens, or this is like the chest. However, it's not solid. And this right here is solid. We need a way of swapping these two. I think this just moves to the left here and it blocks off the ladder or something? I don't remember. So, you'll notice that the ladder continues on a little bit down here. You can break this one block here, but that's not enough for you to squeeze in. So what do you gotta do? Well, this completely unmarked spot in the ground you can just break through. And this would let you slide down here. A bit strange, sure. We also have the situation here where I need to get up on the left here. There's this mallet guy that can make me turn into spring mode. Problem is, he's a little high up. We gotta bounce him with a little barrel there. And then we just have a little bit of waiting to do. It's a little clunky to have to just wait. Maybe the designers couldn't really think of doing it another way, or else they'd have to, like, overhaul the timing of the spring form. And I can understand that, not wanting to. So anyway, we hit that switch, and yeah, this moves to the left, it blocks off the ladder. That's not important to us, though, because we can still make it up this way. And before we get the chest, we got one boss to deal with. Might have to look up this guy's name. So, whenever you hit him on the head, he drops this, it's apparently a pump of some kind. Ah. I actually didn't know he could sort of do that to you. And that, like, he sort of hits you, and you do damage to him. It's kind of funny. But anyway. We hit the pump and essentially inflate this guy. Of course, I had to talk about furries a little while ago, and now there's inflation going on. Nintendo has a weird fixation with that in some bosses. Yoshi's Island, I remember Bert the Bashful has that. Actually, it's not even the only boss that does that. Well, that's kind of brutal. I think this is actually the final chest for W1, so pretty cool to clear out a stage. And we get what looks like another bear claw of some kind, or paw print, or whatever this is. So what is it? It's two halves of a sunstone. Some kind of relic. And interestingly, it causes owls to fall asleep. Okay. I mean, I know owls are meant to be nocturnal, but I'm not exactly sure the significance. We actually open up a small handful of things in E2, 3, and 4. Now, I'm actually going to get all of them. I'll save, I'll actually do them in order. So E2, then 3, then 4. And then I think we'll call it for this episode. I really want to get this series done. So, I'm not going to say that I want to get it over with, but I don't want to leave it as unfinished business. Another thing to note is that to get the thing here in E2, you're going to want to come in during the daytime. If you come in during the night, you're actually going to see right here, there's a waterfall that I jumped through, right here. This is going to be solid ice that you can't break through. So make sure to come in during the daytime. Now, I don't know if, it's been so long. I don't remember if these snowman blocks have shown up yet. I want to say yes, but it's very possible not. You'll notice how there's two different colors of this, or I guess two different palettes. Well, this one's a little lighter than this one. Well, we can get hit with snow here, and we become Snow Wario. It seems kind of useless. We can't really make any particularly good jumps. We can only jump one block at a time, and we're very slow. If you touch any kind of ramp, you immediately start rolling. Now, you might notice that I broke this block, but not this one. The lighter blocks, you can destroy with any size snowball. The darker ones, you need to be rolling for a little bit of time before it actually is able to break these blocks. And so we get to the end of the room, and we get the maximum time here on this slope, and there we go. The big block, the big snowball can break those darker blocks. And I believe that also clears out this stage as well, which is really nice. We get a UFO, or something. At least that's what it kind of looks like. Anyway, just another optional collectible. I'll go to E3 next. We got a little bit to clear out here. This time I don't need to bother with this whole thing. I did it anyway. Just a switch this time. Nothing else important. So, since we're opening the red chest, the red key is a bit strange in this level. So, just like before, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to work with the top part here. So if you break this block, or these blocks here, you'll see that this is the same pillar. Maybe we could use this guy again to break some blocks higher up on this pillar. And sure enough, if you actually just throw him, he only breaks the top block there. So he only makes a very thin path here. And there we go, that's the chest. I'm telling you, the chests are all just in ascending order up here. Which is it's kind of funny, just how they're so formulaic. And I don't even mean that in a bad way, it's just kind of charming. So, you might actually be wondering where the key is. Well, going all the way up here, even pressing this chest, the switch there, and getting hit by the zombie form. If you fall about right here... Oh my god. I did something... Yeah, I did everything right, except completely wrong. Turns out I need to come in here through the daytime. Now, you'll notice that I went through that platform, but the light wasn't shining through that window, and I came all the way down here to undo the zombie form. Yeah. I do kind of wish I had seen that ahead of time. Luckily, though, it's not taken too long to get up there. What's pretty good about the zombies is that you could touch any part of the zombie while they're while their face is still intact, but the second that they have their head shooting out, that's the point where you're gonna want to avoid their head. So you can still hit their head as long as they haven't shot it out yet. And I can make a little skip like what I did there. Really more of a time save than a skip, but you get the idea. Jeez, I hope my voice isn't already going. This can be a pretty difficult or annoying climb if you're not familiar with where the zombies are going to spawn. So, knowledge is a real important factor here. Anyway, do things the right way. There's another section of the level here. There are these foreground pillars that you gotta go behind. This is a bit of a mean platform here, being behind the pillar. Also, smashing down on the ground causes these guys to go up a little bit. And you'll notice here that there's two ways here. The one below me and the way above. What's the way above got? Guess what? That was the red key. It's, not super obvious. Though, to be fair, the platform was sticking out of the pillar, so... At least there's a possible suspect that something is being hidden there. I could honestly see the developers doing it that way, because maybe the graphics just wouldn't load with, something else in that room. And they just decided, hide it behind something, make it not obvious. That's something I would do if I were, making a hack of Pokemon or something. and things just weren't looking too great. We actually get something kind of interesting in this chest. It's a torch. Honestly, take out the flame and it would just look like a red crayon. And now using the power of starting forest fires. Well, I guess they're vines, not really the forest. We actually unlock E7. However, on top of that, we get a nice little convenient thing. We get a shortcut back to the north side. So, I forget if I had mentioned this, but traveling from east to north is kind of annoying, since you have to walk all the way here, and then all the way through south, all the way through west, then all the way to north. However, now we have a nice shortcut. You might be wondering, why couldn't I have just used next map? And while I could always do that, it actually, if you were on the north side here, you couldn't just press next map left here. This option was just opened up to us right now. Which seems kind of arbitrary. Like, I don't know why the developers just gated off slight convenience. I don't know. You might also notice that we have E1, 2, 3, 4. E1, E3's up there, E2, E4, and then E7. What's going on there? Well, we'll just have to come back to that another time. In the meantime, let's head back to the Colossal Hole. Oh, and also, why, of course, I need to make sure I come in during the daytime. This is maybe the somewhat significance of that sunstone. The owls are asleep now. Now I can actually control the owl here. So every time I press a direction on the D-pad, I actually can't do diagonals, the owl will go in that direction, slowly. I can also hold it to make the owl go faster. Like, so here's slow, and here's faster. Slow, fast. You can't stop yourself, though. You can press B, though. To just dismount the owl entirely. So now we gotta really put our skills to the test. Just note right here that Wario is the hitbox. Don't bother with the owl. The owl can just go through the spikes. If you want to be brave and try and do that, like, holding the directions and doing it fast, be my guest. Here's an interesting room. I forget if we've seen this this sun guy before. He appears in a few rooms. I might have seen him in a previous level, actually. Yeah, he just kind of stalks you and spits fire every so often. Gotta dodge him for a little bit here. But now we actually want him to get through right here. There we go. We actually have some other fire blocks here to get through the chest. It's actually a bit of an awkward spot, because so I can't just, like, leave myself doing this over and over again. I need to be up here. So I have to repeatedly... I need to sort of hit myself on the walls there by jumping at the right time. Or else I fall down here and can't do that either. There we go. There we go. And I think we'll just end off the video right here. We do get a new weapon, though, or a new tool kit in our arsenal. And that is, I don't know, Hermes shoes? The Pegasus boots? I wouldn't call it that. So what can you do? Well, I actually mentioned this in the last episode, where holding up made the flat guy jump higher. You can now do this with default Wario. So you can now, like, jump up 3 blocks. He also has a strange quirk where if you land from a jump and you can sort of buffer a jump, like while you're partway through jumping, if this makes any sense. Actually, I'll sort of demonstrate this with an example. So, before I head out here, I guess. So obviously I can just hold up to jump. Another thing to note is that by default, so even without holding up to jump, the dash, I believe, is the same height as the hold up to jump, the Hermes jump. I don't know, whatever you call it. I'll call it the Hermes jump. Actually, that's a pretty nice name for it. Wario has a thing, and I hadn't mentioned it here. The controls can be a little stiff and hard to get used to in this game. Mainly for some of the turning around and his acceleration. But he does have an interesting quirk with his jump. So, you'll notice here that I'm jumping pretty quickly after landing. If I just jump like this is just my typical, just pressing A as soon as I hit the ground kind of thing. However, Wario has sort of a buffered jump, where if you land from a jump and you're holding A pretty close to the ground, like this, so I'm holding A now, before I even hit the ground here, a jump gets buffered. And interestingly, with the Hermes shoes, the jump ends up always being the high jump, the Hermes jump. So you can see this, my hat is just clearing the top of this zip line. And now it's clearing a lot higher after I do the buffered jump. I'm not holding up, by the way. That's just, the game just does that automatically. It's a bit strange to get used to. That being said, it is what it is, and whatever the case. So, I suppose that's about it. I think I got a bit of a weight off my shoulders by just being open and giving full disclosure about everything today. The recording didn't go on for too long, not too short, pretty average of what I typically do. So yeah, after this series, I think just kind of expect some more radio silence from this channel, although at least once I get stuff done, I can kind of leave with a clear palette, knowing that I've at least finished what I was actively starting. So I really appreciate you guys for watching. I won't, unless it's like something important comes up, I won't really discuss too much of this as soon as the next video comes out. I still gotta get back to editing all those streams, jeez. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. It really does mean a lot.